Hey guys, I'm Brock Britton and I'm a surveyor and project manager with CS Britton. Give a little background on what we do. I get to travel across the country building and surveying streams for a living. What we're going to talk about today, there's 3 sections I want to cover today before we go down to the creek. That's going to be getting our HI, setting up and gathering cross-section data, and setting up and gathering longitudinal profile data, or long pro data. So to start with, let's get started with our HI. HI stands for height of instrument. What we're going to do with our HI, we're going to have some surveying equipment. We're going to have a tripod, a laser, a rod, and a target. What we'll do is we'll take our tripod out and we'll put all 3 legs into the ground. Make sure you stomp them down real good. Once we get it secured into the ground, then we'll place our laser on top of our tripod. Once we do that, we're going to lift the brackets up on our tripod and raise the laser up in the air. After we do that, we kind of self-level it with our eyeball, trying to get it as level as we can. Don't worry about being perfect with it. This is a self-leveling laser. So once we turn it on, it'll level itself. Okay, so we've got our tripod set up, we've got our laser put on it, and now we've turned on the laser. Let's take our rod, and we're going to have a known elevation, or what we call a temporary benchmark, TBM. We're going to put our rod on top of the temporary benchmark. We're going to record whatever the elevation is of that temporary benchmark, and then turn on our receiver and get a rod reading from our laser. In this case, our elevation is 100, and our rod reading was 5.19. So what do? We add 5.19 to the elevation of 100, and that gives us an HI of 105.19. Congratulations, you've set up, and now you're ready to go to work. Now, let's move on to our cross-section. What we're going to do with our cross-section is we're going to have several pieces of equipment. We're going to continue to use our rod. We're also going to have a tape that we run across the creek, and 2 candy canes, as I like to call them, to anchor down each end of the tape. Don't worry about the tripod or the laser at this point. We don't have to move it once we've set it up. Now we're going to set up our tape on left bank and move it across to right bank. Now you may be wondering, which one is left, which one is right? If you ever wonder that, stand in the middle of the creek. As the water flows between your legs in front of you, the left is left bank and the right is right bank. So now, we'll start on the left bank at station 00. You may wonder, what is station 00? Once we've ran this tape across the stream, you're going to have, the tape is in feet. So we're starting from 0 feet, going to 1, 2, 3, all the way across to where you decide to stop running the tape. At 0 is station 0 plus 00. At 1 foot on the tape is 0 plus 01. If we're at 15 feet on the tape, station is 0 plus 15. Now, we know what station we're at. It's time to get a rod reading. We run the rod until we hear the solid beep on the laser, and then we call out what the rod reading is. Our partner will record the station and the rod reading that we get. Now let's move to the second shot. That will be at station 1, 0 plus 01. We run the rod up and we get the rod reading. We relay it to our partner and they record the rod reading. You do this all the way across the stream. You may be wondering, how often do I need to take shots across my cross section? And it's not necessary to take one every foot or every half foot. General rule of thumb is every break line feature across the creek. What that means is any sudden drop in elevation. We want to record the elevation before and after the elevation drop. This could be going from one bank to the bottom of the creek. We would want to get on top of the bank and at the toe of the slope, bottom of the creek. Now that we've worked our way across cross sections, we want to figure out what our data is. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our HI and subtract it from each rod reading that we made across the cross section. This is going to give us the actual elevation that we shot in the field, and it's going to help us plot our cross section. So now we've covered HI, we've covered cross section. Let's move into the long pro, or the longitudinal profile. And it may sound like a scary word, but this isn't hard stuff. What we're going to do is set up for our long pro. We're going to take a tape, run it along the edge of the creek. You can do left side or right side here. Just make sure you're running along the edge of the creek. Now, once we've got it set up along the edge of the creek, we'll start at 0, 0, so the beginning of the tape. Now, at this section, we're going to have to do several things. We're going to call out what the bed feature is of our stream. The bed features include riffles, runs, pools, and glides. We've covered that earlier today, and we'll continue to cover that in the field. But a riffle is what you could classify as the shallower part of the stream. The run is where we go from a riffle into our pool. It's a transition area. Our pool, as you'd expect, is a deeper part of our creek. And then from pool to riffle, we call it a glide, where we start to shallow back up into the riffle part of the stream. Now, we've set up, we're calling out our features. Let's say, hypothetically, that we're in a pool. What are we going to do? The first thing we have to do is shoot the thigh wag. The thigh wag is the deepest part of the creek, all the way throughout the creek. So if we were to shoot the thigh wag in the pool, it'd be the deepest part of the pool. If we were to shoot the thigh wag in the riffle, it'd be the deepest part of the riffle, all the way down. Once we get this rod reading, relay it to your team member. They'll record it in the thigh wag box. After this, we'll get a water surface shot, which is where we get a rod reading right at the top of the water in our creek. So it's a water surface shot. After this, we get our bankful shot. The bankful is not always clear and easy to see, so we have to identify where we think bankful is based on our toothpick survey, which we will conduct at the beginning of the field day. Bankful is a part of a stream where water can reach its floodplain after it's received enough rainfall. Once we get our bankful shot, we have to get our low bank shot. Now, low bank is, as it sounds, it's the low bank, but it's not always the same as bankful. We can have a bankful call that's halfway up a stream bank, but our low bank is still the top. Low bank is whichever bank would have water flowing out of it during a flood. After you've got all of these shots, you'll move to your next bed feature. In this case, would be the glide. We would repeat the same steps over and over again until we got to the end of our tape. Once we've gathered all this data, we'll go back and we'll crunch the numbers. We'll start by subtracting HI minus thigh wag, HI minus water surface, HI minus bankful, and HI minus low bank. We'll do this for every bed feature that we recorded going down the stream. Once we get finished, we'll plot our elevations on a scale, and this will be our long pro. Now, I know this sounds like a lot. If you're just like me, all you want to do is knock all the water out of the creek anyways. But the math and science is a really big, important part of understanding the creek. So as your teacher explains and teaches you things that relate to math and science, it's important to take this in and bring it with you down to the creek.